The Night of Lord Greengate's Castle. Written and illustrated by Melita Freeman. Long ago, in the noble days of knighthood, there lived a young warrior in the house of Greengate. He had a rich heritage, so his mother named him William Lawrence Alton Greenegate. But because his household claimed no honor, his father plainly called him Will. Now, the house of Greengate was unlike any throughout the land in this manner. All other estates of the knighthood were represented by the noble banners throughout the halls of the king's palace, and at each year's end, the High Court held a grand celebration to esteem all knights, footmen, and archers for their display of courage and valor. But the family of Greengate received no such attention, nor was it allowed a place at the annual ceremony since the reign of King Oswald I. For the legacy of Greengate's castle was that in the day of battle, Sir William Greengate, Lord of the King's Knights, turned his back on the royal fleet and left His Majesty to suffer a fatal wound. Thus, with his dying breath, King Oswald I cursed the house of Greengate, and for 400 years none of its old men lived to give wise counsel, nor could any of its young gain strength for battle. Nonetheless, the daily task of Will was as typical as any village boy. Morning lessons began with the Holy Scriptures, and stacking firewood was a continual chore. There was one routine he did enjoy. He lived near the forest, so every evening after supper, the child escaped into the world of the green lands and created a playground of his imagination with him as master of the forest, until the last ray of sunlight hovered over the giant trees and sounds of the wild echoed from their thick hollow branches. Years passed quickly, and the lad grew skillful in discovering the treasures of the dark woods. He learned to cover weapons of wood and outsmart foxes. He boldly hunted for boar. He boldly hunted for food, chasing them to exhaustion. He cornered and conquered them. We became a strong and brave young man. At 18, Will's father gave him a horse. Thunder the horse delighted in racing rabbits. One evening, while the racer chased after a gray, furry-tailed friend, Will and his horse came upon a circle of knights. In the company of the knights was the royal carriage. Will overheard husky voices speak of kidnapping the king's only heir and he learned that they intended to hold the young prince for a lofty ransom. William thought like a warrior. He swiftly staged a shadow of knights from a distance, then challenged the tyrants single-handedly. Some of the evil knights saw the shadow and fled in terror, mistaking it as the king's army. Others challenged him, but he withstood them, one by one, fighting them to exhaustion. He cornered them and conquered them, until the last ray of sunlight hovered over the giant trees, and sounds of the wild echoed from their hollow branches. At last, he escaped with the prisoner and returned him to safety. When the prince revealed the wicked plot to his father, King Ashur the heir pondered upon rendering due justice and reward. After his majesty condemned his enemies to prison, he summoned the palace regiment, all the honorable warriors of the land, and William into the high court. Thus were the words of the king spoken in all their hearing. Whereas you have displayed exceeding great courage, brilliant skills of war, and faithful service in preserving the king's heritage, I dub you Sir William Greengate the Valiant, Lord of the King's Knights. That day, the curse on the house of Greengate was broken, and every year after, their banner waved high at the king's festivals. The prince and Sir William became friends of a covenant, and throughout all the land forever, no aged man was found wiser, nor was any young man more mighty than in the house of Greenegate. The end. Thank you for reading this book. We hope you enjoyed the content of its pages. Swan Publishing.